Hello, everybody. Thank you, everybody. I'm Ralph Shearing, President and CEO of Altaley Mining Corporation. And we are a very active company in Mexico. We're actually in production and producing. This first slide sort of introduces the company, and we have two projects. We have a mine in production, primarily a zinc mine in the state of Guerrero, producing now, and we are building another mine called Tahuehueto in northwestern Durango, and we expect to have this mine in production within the next 45 days. We're building what we believe would be Mexico's next mid-tier mining company. Forward-looking statements, as you all know, we'll be talking about forward-looking projections. Please read that at your leisure. This is the locations of our project. So we're an emerging multi-mine Mexican producer. We have a project up in the state of Durango. This is the project that is under construction and should be in production very shortly. Campo Morado down in the state of Guerrero is the zinc mine. So Campo Morado currently is the 6th largest zinc concentrate producer in Mexico. We have a pathway to increase production at the project. We're exploring improvements with extensive metallurgical testing to try to increase our gold and silver recoveries by up to 400% for gold and up to 200% for silver. This has gone through first phase testing and has been successful. And then we have a pathway to double the resources and expand the mine, potentially up to 5,000 tons per day. However, this would be a long-term approach. We would need exploration success to get there. We believe exploration success will come very easily, and I'll show you a bit more in the next few slides. Tahuehueto is a gold project. This project it's under construction. We're 95% complete on that construction. We expect initial production late February, early March of this year. This project will produce around 70% of the revenue will come from gold, 12 from silver, and 19 from base metals. This project also has excellent exploration potential. We believe we can double or triple the resource base over the next 2 to 5 years and allow expansions to the 1,000 ton per day operation we are currently building. Our board of directors, we have a very strong board of directors. I won't go into details, everybody, due to time constraints on this presentation. However, I am a professional geologist, CEO, and I've had 35 years of experience in mineral exploration and development. And I have had over 34 years of experience in managing junior public companies. The rest of our directors and management span a range of very talented people in finance, in mineral exploration, in mining. At the end of our presentation on the PDF copy, you'll see a lot more details of all of our directors, but I can assure you we have all parts of our business covered both on the public sector side and the mining and exploration side of things. Now we'll talk a little bit about our primary project. This is the Tahuehueto mine in construction. This is our flagship project. It has a nice resource reserve, and we're building the mine. This mine should be one of the 4 top highest grade gold producers once it reaches production in the next month to 2 months. Our reserves, we have reserves based on a 2017 pre-feasibility study of 3.2 million tons of probable reserves, 3.4 grams per ton gold, 41 silver, plus base metals. That reserves gives us a 10-year mine life based on the current reserves. M&I resources, which include the reserves, are 6.1 million tons at 2.4 grams gold and 42 silver plus base metals. If we can convert those measured and indicated resources to reserves, then we will have over a 20-year mine life at a 1,000 ton a day operation, which we are building. We should be producing about 25,000 ounces of gold on an annual basis. If you add all metals on a gold equivalent basis, we'd be in the neighborhood of 42,000 ounces of gold equivalent at 1,000 tons per day. Projections show a low-cost producer at about $800 all-in sustaining costs based on the pre-feasibility study. So our production profile, all-in sustaining guidance, this is a graph of the life of the mine of our current reserves. There's no doubt in my mind that this will maintain production throughout 2029, 2030 onward with exploration success, which should come easy. So I believe that this mine will be able to continue to produce past the mine life here. When it starts to drop down in production, we'll be able to maintain these production rates with exploration success, bringing new resources and reserves in. You can see here, just under 70% of the value of this project is gold, 12% silver, 13 zinc, and 6 lead. Our underground development is over 90% complete, so we have enough faces already exposed to provide feed to our mill. Construction is over 90%, 95% complete. This is a picture of the flotation circuit, and the ball mill is just being tested now. We'll be able to start producing on a test basis or through the mill probably by the end of this month, early next month. So this production, and if we have one ball mill starting up, that's the initial pre-production. We'll install the second ball mill in Q2, and we should be ramping this project up to full capacity, around 1,000 tons per day mid this year. Talk a little bit about the exploration potential on our project. So Tahuehueto is known as a district, a mineralized district, and this is a district scale project. We own about 82% of the prospective ground within the district. Our concessions are outlined in blue. We have an internal block surrounded by one competitor, which is Fresnillo, one of the largest mining companies in Mexico. And then we have ground outside of them, which we deem to be prospective in the future. All of our exploration and drilling has been concentrated on this one main structure. It goes from Cinco de Mayo up to Creston Perdido, goes over the other side of the hill, it goes all the way down into the arroyo here. From this arroyo to Cinco de Mayo, that's 3.4 kilometers in strike length. We were not able to drill the zone here because of too much overlying cover, but we believe we'll outline a lot of resources in there once we start drilling from underground. All of these other yellow lines here represent vein structures we know they're exposed on surface. We need to drill them. We did test Tex Calama with 6 drill holes, and we found similar mineralization as we have where we have concentrated the majority of our drilling. So our resources and reserves are only contained within these red lines, and these are all prospective vein targets to drill in the future. To put this into perspective, from the river up to our most northerly showing is about 7.5 kilometers in distance. So there's a lot of potential that we need to go after and get drilled out in the future. However, our resource reserves are within this red line here. And if we look at these on a longitudinal section, this is what the ore bodies look like underground. If it's a blue line here, that's a reserve. If it's not a blue line, it's a resource. So we have infill drilling. We hope to bring a lot of these M&I resources into reserves. This is the area where I believe we can increase our resources by 1/3. We haven't drifted in here about 150 meters past the last known drill hole, and we're still in mineralization. And I believe these ore bodies will be repeated throughout here, but we'll have to drill them from underground. It's just too deep to drill them from surface. We're open to depth. We haven't found the limits to the mineralization to depth, and we're open to the south and to the north. So lots of exploration potential, even on this one structure, let alone all of the other yellow structures I showed you a few minutes ago. Now I'll tell you a little bit about Campo Morado. So Campo Morado it's Mexico's 6th largest zinc producer. This is the milling facility here. This is a tailings disposal facility that's no longer being used, but there's a lot of metal in there. We hope to recover some of that metal. This is the resources reserves table. So our mineralization known right now is contained in 7 volcanogenic massive sulfide zones. We're processing around 2,200 tons per day on average. We declared commercial production in May 2018. And we produced, this year, we were on track to produce about 44,000 pounds of zinc. We actually produced just under 46 million pounds of zinc this year. Our resources, M&I resources, are 16.6 million tons at 1.7 grams per ton gold, 123 silver, 0.8 copper, 0.93 lead, and 4% zinc. I'd like to point out this high-grade nature of the gold and silver. For a volcanogenic massive sulfide deposit, these are quite high numbers. The problem is this, we don't get a lot of this metal in the out of the existing mill. We get about 20%, 15 to 20% of the gold, and we get about 40 to 50% of the silver. We are testing to improve that, and we're having some success. But for the time being, our M&I resources give us a 20-year mine life. Our average all-in sustaining cost for 2021 were 87 cents per pound of zinc. So we have lots of room for lower zinc prices to still make money. And at the project C1 cash costs were 46 cents per pound of zinc. We have been producing on average throughout 2021 about $2.2 million of EBITDA. So we're making good money on this project right now, and it's helping us with our construction at our gold project. Here's some few graphs showing our production. We've had steady increases in zinc concentrate production and lead concentrate production throughout the last 5 quarters. Our cash costs have been steadily coming down, and on Q4 they were up a little bit from some increases in treatment charges. However, we still believe we're in good territory for our cash costs. Mine operating profit has steadily increased. We had over $19.9 million in net revenue in Q4 of last year, and all-in sustaining cost have shown a steady trajectory down. So we're really cleaned up the mine and operating very efficiently and making good money. So Campo Morado growth opportunities. Right away, we have a flotation circuit that was being was under construction by the previous owner, that we could advance that to completion. It was about 80% complete, and that would give us a pathway to increase our production by 750 to 1,000 tons per day. So this is one thing we're looking at. However, we may have a better way to increase our production, and we've been testing pneumatic flotation, which is a flotation method that is designed to recover microfine grind ore. At Campo Morado, because the mineralization is so fine grind, we have to get down to about 10 to 15 micron size in order to effectively liberate the metal. And these pneumatic flotation cells are designed to recover much better than traditional mechanical flotation cells. So we have a pilot plant on site now that is working away. We're starting to see some good results. If this is successful, then we'll have a way to increase our base metal production, our recoveries, as well as our concentrate grades. And we'll have a way to work the tailings through a process called leach ox or Albion process, which is a forced oxidation and leaching out of the gold that we're not able to recover in the traditional flotation methods. So that has gone through first phase testing. If you look at the leach ox process, back in 2013, the previous owner tested this, and they showed 65% recoveries for gold. That's a 400% increase to what we're currently getting, and 81% potential recoveries for silver, a 200% increase from what we're currently getting. So if we're successful on this, then we'll be able to vastly increase our precious metal recoveries as well as our base metal recoveries. And if that's successful, then we'll have a pathway to reprocess the existing tailings facility. And that tailings facility, based on old production records, we believe contains around 280,000 ounces of gold equivalent with just gold and silver. Now I stress those are not compliant, 43-101 compliant resources or reserves. This is based on historic data from the production of the mine. So that's our plan to really increase our production. And we've also successfully made a pyrite concentrate, which we believe will help us lower our costs to move into this forced oxidation and leaching. So we'll see how that goes over the coming months. We also have a lot of near-term growth potential and in exploration potential on the project. There's numerous anomalies that need to be drilled, all ready to drill. And if they're successful on this exploration over the coming years, then we could see a pathway to increase our production, maybe up to double of what we're getting. This would be more like a 4 to 5 year long-term approach. I'll show you a little bit about our exploration potential. This image at the bottom shows our current ore bodies. underneath this, we believe there's a second horizon of mineralization. These are geophysical, borehole geophysical anomalies that were identified by the previous owner. They are basically drill ready. This, for example, this anomaly is down in through here. This one here is underneath the El Rey. The previous owners did drill a few holes down in here and intersected thick, massive sulfide sections. So these need to be followed up, and we believe we'll be able to access new ore bodies below the existing mine infrastructure at a low cost. And if we look on more of a property scale basis, these are all high-level geophysical and or geochemical anomalies that were developed by the previous owner that are drill ready. We just need to set up on them and test them. All of the ore bodies I just showed you on the previous slide are located in this blue ellipse. So these are all property scale anomalies that are drill ready. As soon as we're healthy enough with our cash, we can start drilling. We believe we'll bring in a lot of new ore bodies to the mine for future production. Quickly go into our capital markets profile. We're currently trading in the 30 to 35 cent range. Our highs and lows were 19.5 to 80 cents last year. Shares outstanding, 2.58 million, and on a fully diluted basis, we're up to 300 something million. Options warrants at 332 million fully diluted with options and warrants. Market capitalization currently about $73 million US. We have cash on hand with around $4 million, restricted cash. $3.2 million is a story behind this. This cash is not available. It's on our balance sheet at the moment. And we have loan debt of about $38 million, primarily to Trafigura and Nearstar, the previous owner of the mine, which gives us an enterprise value of about $104 million. Next slide, a peer comparison. This shows you the opportunity that I believe Altaley Mining presents to investors. This is a enterprise value over EBITDA ratio. Our peers in Mexico, Mexican polymetallic producers, are shown here at that ratio. Altaley is sitting at 1.4. The average here is 11.5. So if we can start to achieve what our peers are, and we believe we're on our way to getting this done once our Tahuehueto comes into production, then we see very good growth potential in this ratio and obviously in our stock price. And if you look at just junior gold producers, we're at about 1.4, as I said, and the average here is 4.5. So there's the opportunity. When Tahuehueto comes on to production, our gold mine in the next month, once we ramp it up to full capacity, we expect to get a re-rating as a primary gold producer because over 60% of our revenue will be coming from precious metals. So there's a very good reason to follow us and to potentially, well, this is just the final slide, tells you pretty much everything that I told you. So I think I can probably wrap it up there and open it up to questions. I'll just go to the next slide. That's our ending slide. So there you go. I'll be here for questions.
Yeah. Questions coming from Francis here. He said, what's the biggest challenge that you foresee in operating Tahuehueto?
In Tahuehueto, the operations there, I mean, logistically, it's a bit remote by Mexican standards, but I'm a Canadian, and if you can drive to your project in a day, I don't consider it that remote. So we don't see a lot of challenges. I mean, we have everything worked out. The distance to get out of the project is about 150 kilometers. First part of the road is a bit challenging, but we're fixing that up. So it's just a matter of getting in there, mining, moving things along. There's not a lot of difficulty in getting that done.
And do you have any focus on ESG in your operations?
Yes, very much so. We didn't touch on it on this presentation because of time constraints, but we're very cognizant of ESG and the necessity to do that. We have programs for training for all the local peoples, both of our mines, to bring them into the mining sector and help the local residents. We buy locally as much as possible. Just a lot of attention is paid to that. Now we will be starting next year or this coming year to start reporting our ESG component. Up till now, we're still a little understaffed, and because we've been concentrating so hard on getting our production into our Tahuehueto into production, but that will come. And certainly we're very cognizant of it, and attempting to get more green in our projects. For example, we'll be at Tahuehueto, we're generating our own power. So we'll be converting initially from diesel to gas, probably late this year, to lower our green carbon footprint by producing energy with gas-powered turbine or gas-powered generators.
Great. Thank you, Rob, for addressing the questions here. So I'll let you go. Thank you for your time here today.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you, everybody.